In this short video, I'm going to show you how to download assets from the asset store. Those assets can be just about anything for your project. What I want to show you now is how to download 3D models. So let's get started. If you don't already have an asset store tab open, go to your window menu and come down to asset store. That'll open up a new tab. And you can do this just as well in a browser, but that takes a couple more steps. So I'm doing it here in Unity. So first thing you get to is a home page, and you can see lots of fun stuff. Just a note of caution, if you're going to download assets that have scripts, be very careful. If you're going to pay for assets, make sure you read the documentation ahead of time. Lots of stuff does a nice sales job and may or may not do exactly what you want it to do. There are some fantastic assets out there, however. But for the purposes of this tutorial, I'm going to stay with three-dimensional models. So I'm going to search for a house. Just put that into the search bar, press enter, and I get my results here. As you can see, the top results are often paid results. And so I'm going to click the button right here for price, and we're going to sort by price. And that'll bring up the free models first. So I might peruse here a little bit and see what I like. I don't know. Let's try this one here. Medieval Toon House. So I click on that, I get some previews, you get a little bit of description here. And again, if you're downloading something that has scripts, read very carefully what you're getting. It's also a very good idea to read the documentation. There should be a link to the documentation in there somewhere. And below, you can also see screenshots that the developer has provided. For more complex assets, there's usually a video as well. If you scroll down, you can see all the files that are going to come with it, and you can also see reviews of that asset. So I'm going to scroll back up and I'm going to click download. Now, if this doesn't have a download, you may need to log in. Up here at the top right of the tab, you can log in. I'm currently logged in, so it shows a little differently, but you can log into your Unity account there. I'm going to press download, and this will download the files. These ones are pretty quick. Once the files are downloaded and Unity has processed them, you'll get this standard import option here, and this shows you all the different files that are going to come in. And one of the things I don't like about downloading assets from the asset store is it tends to clutter up your project very, very quickly. It's also a good idea to take a look at what is actually getting downloaded. You can see here they're downloading their standard assets again. I'm assuming these are probably Unity ones. But it is nice to see that this person has organized it all in a medieval house folder. Sometimes people just spit it right out into your assets folder and it makes a big mess of your project. So I'm going to push import and wait for Unity to further process the files. Now that's been done, if I come down here to my project view, you can see that I have a new folder, Medieval House. So let's take a look and see what we got here. Looks like I got some animations, got some prefabs, got some scenes, got a sample scene, scripts. And of course, what you download is going to vary depending on the asset that you download. Often there's going to be a prefab or a models folder. So let's look at the prefabs. And I've got buildings, nature, and props. So this was a little bit more complicated or involved asset. It wasn't just a building, but I'm gonna stick with the buildings. Come in here, and here is my medieval house. Pretty straightforward. I'm gonna come back to my scene view and see if I can find an empty spot. There's an empty spot. And I'm simply gonna take this model and drag it into my scene. I can then use my transform tools to rotate and place as I like. So it's pretty straightforward to bring in simple 3D models. Again, I can look at, hey, here's a tree that they provided, stylized tree. Since I brought in this tree, it's worth mentioning this tree is very unlikely to work nicely with Unity terrains. I can drop it in just like you saw, but it's unlikely to be able to be used with the Unity terrain tools as shown in the last video. And then again, I have a bunch of props and such things here. So this is a pretty good asset, adds a lot of detail. One of the things you, again, have to be concerned about is kind of matching the style. I've got kind of a cartoon, hand-painted style going on here, which looks, I think this is a very nice looking asset, but doesn't really match the rest of my terrain or my trees. So that'll do it for this video. See you guys next time when we look at adding Playmaker FSM to create a really simple day and night cycle.